evening and welcome to Laughing Monkey Music Show. Taylor Evans, Stevie D. Stevie's been on a few times before, but about a year. Got a lot done in a year. You've been really busy, man. Welcome.
Yeah, we released since the last time we talked, we released our 10th album,
Yep.
and we went on several legs touring with Skid Row, and also
Someone
recently
else.
we Creed got back together, and we went out and supported them on a couple cruises. So, yeah, it's been a busy
Um,
year.
yeah, I was actually thinking of Rose Tattoo.
Rose Tattoo, yeah, that's coming up at the end of the year. We're going to Australia, doing several dates with them. Uh, Big influence, you know.
I talked to Angry a lot. You were asking me who I talked to. Me and Angry have done a bunch of shows. I think we're talking about doing a conspiracy one next. Angry
Yeah,
loves you guys. He says
yeah,
he thinks you guys are.
he showed up at a show, a few cocktails in tow, and
He's the best.
yeah, he's a legend, man. He's
He's a real deal. I love Angry. We had some great talks, and
yeah.
I mean, he loves you guys, and he doesn't mention. I mean, we talk about other older bands and influences, but we
Hmm.
really haven't talked about a lot of bands. He's like, yeah, it's like you guys slash Guns N' Roses. Those are the bands he talks about that are current that really are exciting to him right now. So I mean,
Yeah,
that's a thing, to
yeah.
tell you.
He he's had obviously we have a lot in common, and he even tried poaching Billy, the other
Okay,
guitar player in the band, to come out with the band. But yeah, he's amazing.
yes,
He's
he is good. He is. I don't think they have a lot of touring anyhow. So enjoy
We're
it.
all over the U.S. We even went well, a few months back. We were in the London area, and we just before that we had played in Florida at this festival, and a bunch of guys got this chest infection, lung infection, and so a lot of bands went. That was ground zero, and a lot of bands split from there and got sick, and
Oh,
it hit us, and but yeah, so we went out. We tried pulling off a few shows and just had to come back. But yeah, but we've been it's been nonstop.
you
It
guys
was
tour hard
a
though.
heavy
You
touring
know,
year for
you
us.
know, you guys have a work ethic. You guys are like in shape. You keep. I mean, you really put the time in. To deliver a
Yeah,
show. You're not just dialing it
yeah.
in
I
like
mean, yeah, we've been doing it a long time, but there's also a regiment you got to kind of keep up the older you get. So yeah, we like to stay in shape and get the work done. You know.
yeah. You guys are like in really good shape. Make me feel bad now. I'm like, geez, I gotta start exercising.
Well, it's having a kid, and he's athletic, and trying to just you gotta be on deck. You get all hands on deck. You know.
True, true. How are you guys doing it now? Because the album came out and it's got some really good rock songs. And I think what's great is fun about you guys is you guys just have some like AC/DC type, just like really just fun rock and roll lyrics. But then you go to the other side where Josh and you guys are coming with the most sentimental, really smart lyrics. So
Hmm.
musically, you guys run the gamut of all types of music.
Yeah,
Are you adjusting your set list to the territories, or are you just kind of going with what you feel each night?
I think lately this past couple of years, it's really Josh puts the set list together,
Yeah,
right? So, and he likes to have a certain kind of flow and kind of take you on a musical journey. It's entertainment, right? We have 10 albums of music to get through. So we play the obvious hits,
right.
and then about bridging those highs and lows. You don't want to have too many slow songs. It's a rock and roll band, but we do have that in our repertoire. Feels like love. So, um, yeah, it's just a balance of the power and
Well, the
the
songs are
slower.
different though. You know what I mean? Like some of your
Uh,
songs you could actually play like it feels like, if you're more in a southern area, you could actually play some of your other songs a little differently. Depending, I mean, you have some aggressive songs. You can always tailor your songs to what area you're playing, almost like geographically,
yeah, I mean,
because you have such a
I think
wide swath.
yeah, I think the people that are coming to see us, they
Don't
know
care.
what they're getting.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? So I wouldn't say it depends. Maybe in Canada where certain songs were hits and not maybe not as big in the States, we'll
yeah,
we'll uh, we'll adjust for that. But usually it's not that much of a change. I think most of the people know what they are getting
yeah. They,
when they buy that ticket, and expect to hear. So.
I think the album before this one was really kind of cemented you guys into your like almost like legacy point, where like you're here to stay. You know,
Hmm.
you survived everything. Yes, it's like like
Survived
you
a
guys
lot.
well, you know what I'm saying. You've had a lot of band members and stuff going on, ups and downs, and tours and
Yeah.
COVID and this and that, and then like like 15 was huge, but then a lot of that whole music market went away for everybody. It
Hmm.
was like got kind of weird, but you guys have stayed through and just kept building back up to the point where you guys are like a lot of the rock bands that people listened to forever prior that we grew up listening to. You're like at a
Yeah.
spot now. We're like it's Buckcherry. They're just going to be here now, and they're just going to
Yeah.
keep working. You know what I'm saying? I think you've got to that point now in
Yeah.
the
I
past
mean,
couple albums.
we're gonna show up and play. I mean, we love what we do, right? And we're gonna show up and play as long as people are buying tickets and there's a demand there. I think we also are blessed that we get to keep doing this. We put out albums, and instead of going, what we stopped doing a few years back was going straight to radio. The radio is kind of this middleman between us, the artist,
Yeah,
and the consumer, the listener. And so we stopped doing that, and we still are reaching a lot of new people. So um, we're just going to keep doing what we love. We don't we never have really been that band that has chased the sound to appeal to a wider audience. We just keep doing what we do, and the scene seems to keep coming back to us too. So,
right.
uh,
You've kind of shown that you're not going anywhere. I think that's the point. You're not. You guys are like, yeah, we're here to stay. We're like one of the bands that are just going to be forever now. You know,
yeah.
legendary type
Well,
of thing. I mean, it's a compliment that what I'm saying. Some bands
God,
could
God willing.
have a well,
Willing.
your bands need that 10 year window. Like you guys have shown you're past that, where you guys are just like here. And actually, this would be a good lead in. 25-year anniversary of the first album, which
Yeah, been
makes
around
me feel old.
for a long time since the
Yeah,
90s.
yeah,
We're celebrating 25 years for that first album. And yeah, there was a short hiatus there in the middle, and right after the Time Bomb album. And that's when the band reformed with Keith, Josh, Jimmy, Xavier, and me.
yeah.
And um, yeah, it's it had long legs.
It has, but
We're
you guys have survived some crazy things. That
hmm
time period of the first couple albums was kind of like the alternative, the grunge. Like there was no real rock. You guys were like one of the more rock bands that was in there. So to kind of
yeah.
survive that was kind of weird. There was no market for you. You
Hmm.
know,
Yeah.
there really
Well,
hasn't been.
that's the way it's always been. We've been Josh describes it as we've been this island in a sea of, let's say, different music. When the
Yeah,
band first came out, there were a lot of bands like Korn and Limp Bizkit and even Blink 182 or those kind of pop
yeah,
punk bands. And later, it was we came out, and that was kind of the beginning of active rock, where Creed and Nickelback,
yeah.
Godsmack, and those types of bands. And then there's been a whole generation of new bands that spawned from there. And we were always this rock and roll band, kind of situated in the middle of that, and kind of rose and kind of got our own recognition in the middle of all that. So,
which is cool.
and same
It's
with
kind of like
festival, and we're always kind of this uh outside band, kind of somewhere in the middle there. But
but for someone that watches bands, I like to see where they fit. And sometimes it's fun to put different bands together. But always seeing how you guys are put together and where you guys are playing and who you're playing with. It's always interesting to see what crowds can cross over to you guys,
hmm
that fit in. It's always very interesting. Like, what is a Buckcherry crowd like? What else do they listen to? I think at one point, didn't you play with Kid Rock at one point?
yeah,
Which feels like that crowd could be hit or miss. Like I think a lot of them could, and I think some of them would definitely not. I think it'd be they either like you or they don't like you in that mixed crowd.
I think the Kid Rock audience, they're 100%.
Oh,
Like
good. Okay.
sometimes I'll go to a festival and there's a lot of active rock on there. It
Hmm.
that can be more hit or miss. Kid
Yeah,
Rock is like I think it's the same audience.
I think so. I
You
don't know
know.
his audience as well. I'll be honest with you. Like I don't know because he had doing like rap, rock, country. Like I don't even know. So maybe it does make
Mhm.
sense that they would all be embracive because he does a lot of different types of music. So I guess as I say it out loud
Yeah,
and work through it.
at the A, he's he's a rock and roll guy. I mean,
Yeah,
he does country, he does rap rock, but it all centers around a guitar, and a
and there's some.
distinct voice,
Yeah,
and kind of what we are. So
I mean, you guys do good around the rock bands nowadays too. So I mean, you're fitting into a lot of the rock bands on tour too. So the older bands and legends. So you guys are fitting everywhere now. So
yeah,
when
yeah,
you're writing music now, which you're preparing for also, so you're on tour for the anniversary and promoting the newest album, still 10, right? So it's a mixture
yeah.
of the
We're,
two.
we're doing a lot of. We did most of the touring already for this album. Uh, Now for the rest of the year, until we go in and do our 11th album. We're doing select fly dates, so that allows us to be home part of the week with our families, and then on the weekends we'll do festivals or uh, kind of a soft ticket kind of
Yeah,
thing. But yeah, 10 came out about a year ago,
yeah.
maybe, yeah, ago. And we released was it 3 videos from there? Yeah, 3 videos, and then it's just been nonstop. So
It feels like it. It feels like the crowds have continued to grow. And I know when we did the first big interview, when you and I first talked, I don't know, almost 3 years ago at least, maybe. And you were
hmm
promoting the last one, and that was the first year you guys were kind of skipping radio, and it was a big year for you guys, just doing internet interviews and skipping radio, and it kind of
yeah,
helped break that album, and it's really kind
yeah,
of changed. I think a lot of artists have kind of almost done that 100% now, whereas actually radio is doing the same thing. Radio is becoming almost more podcast form, and it feels like the interviews are like
yeah.
I see more radio stations on
Yeah.
the same thing now. It's
Well,
changed now.
it was predicted a few years back that, or at least the trend was is kind of on the downswing. Terrestrial radio is going away,
Mm-hmm.
and the internet is just continuing to grow into this massive, undeniable monster. So why go why use radio when the internet is right there at our disposal? You know,
And the
so
internet's less picky about what the radio's got to have a hit before they have you on the show. If you're not the big hit,
well, I mean,
you don't get any
it,
interviews.
what it's turned into. Um, is active rock radio. It became a little bit more, I'd say, defined. So rock radio isn't just rock radio. There's heritage stations that play the older music,
Right.
and then most of the stations in the country became active rock radio. So, and what that is, the idea for that was to kind of get uh, a playlist that was very similar sounding,
Mm-hmm.
and so the listener wouldn't change the station. And what
Right.
ended up happening is a lot of those bands became faceless, in my opinion. Like
I agree.
who it sounds like so and so, but it could be so and so and so. So I don't know. I think a lot of active rock ended up sounding very similar, and so I don't. I don't know. I don't know what the future is for it, but I know that we've been able to survive away from that. Like people ask you all the time, what is your idea of success? And it's just, and for me, um, I think it's just having that longevity through. I've already been in the band 20 years, and this band's first album was, uh, in the
Okay.
late '90s. It's been being able to sustain a career like this in a visible way, and being able to make money and be able to make music,
Yeah.
for as long as we have.
You
So
pay your bills with your guitar and you get to hang out with your kid. That's success. I
yeah,
mean, there really is nothing else better than that,
double edged,
really.
double-edged sword, because it's no secret that Buckcherry has been uh, uh, one of the hardest working bands out there.
Yeah, you
We
guys are.
tour relentlessly, and we're trying to, I think we're going to slow down a little bit. We don't want to oversaturate markets. That's what happened to somewhere along the line. We had an album called Rock and Roll,
Yeah,
and right around then we had been told, you know, you have just played too much. So it's the case of diminishing returns. So we'd play a market, and then we'd be back there in less than a year, or maybe even 6 months, and
yeah,
we'd be beating up the whole scene, and less and well, I've already seen them, so less and less people
right.
were coming to shows. So we took a break. The band splintered, and we came back with a new lineup, and things got great. And so what we're trying to do now is kind of just hit hard, and then just kind of let it rest, instead of tiring out markets.
Yeah. And you want to keep the band strong. I mean, if you guys are firing good, you guys are writing albums, you guys seem to be a nice groove. The songs are
Hmm.
getting. It's interesting because the songs are still growing, but I mean, you guys are still sound like Buckcherry, but there's different changes in them. I mean, each album.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think we're really going to stray from what we do. There's a lot of bands that have built massive careers on their sound, and I think
Yeah.
we've landed on our sound. We know what we do best, you know. We've we've experimented in different directions with side projects, and but yeah, I think at the core of it all, um, there's a Buckcherry sound that we stick to,
Yeah.
and that people you know come back to enjoy. So
It's yeah, it's pure rock.
why
What I'm saying is
why
there are,
why recipe, right?
but you guys have had some song growth too. I'm saying, like, you really have a knack for it, and we can actually talk about the new album, and because you have a writing partner too that works with you guys a lot, and actually, it's been working with you other stuff. It's Marty. It's been kind of the
Fredrickson, he we worked with him early on the 15 album, on a song called Sorry. He was coming off the success, a bunch of success with Aerosmith at the time.
okay. Yeah.
And I think one year Jaded went to number 5 for him, and then he co-wrote with us, and the song was Sorry, and that went to number 6. Uh, so we've been, and then we did our next album, Black Butterfly, with him. And then there was a long stretch where we didn't have contact with him. And then right around our Hellbound, yeah, Hellbound,
Yeah.
uh, we uh, we reconnected, and we just we hit it off again, and it took it. I think we're now in a really I don't know, it's something about when we get into a room, our songwriting language is so good that we don't have to talk a lot. We just there's just a
Do it.
lot of execution, you know, and yeah, it's pretty seamless and effortless, and yeah, we just love it. So we love him. He's like the sixth member. So
Is he does he write lyrics or is Josh just writing all the lyrics?
Josh writes all the lyrics. Sometimes Marty comes in. He's what he does is a writing partner and producer. He suggests, certain
Mhm.
types of amendments on melodies, or instead of saying it this way, kind of say it a different way, same words, but in a different
Okay.
twist. Uh, it's same with the guitar riffs. Like I'll have something that's let's say verse, pre-chorus, chorus, and he kind of renders it down into a more powerful
Okay.
uh, piece. You
To
know,
keep yeah,
uh,
extra eyes on it. There was that, and you say sorry. I can tell you that line with Josh's lyric. Then I guess when blame turns to shame, it's like such a great, smart lyric, like in that
yeah,
song. To me, it is so like it feels like it's like almost just like simply thought, but you've never actually heard it phrased like that. You know what I'm saying? Like it's like a Beatles song. Like yeah, in the Beatles, you hear a song like you go, oh, that's
yeah,
a simple song. But why no one's done it because it's so hard to do something so concise.
yeah,
So that
yeah,
phrase, the way he's saying it, I'm like, that's just so good. You know?
yeah. I mean, it's a lot of times in the songs that I like, um, even the Beatles, or not
Yeah.
comparing us to the Beatles or anything
No, but
like
we're
that,
talking to songwriting styles and similarities. It's not
but
people know the
but
difference.
all in the delivery.
Right.
Like it's as long as it's not a terribly cliche lyric,
Right.
the the uh the melody is really what sticks to me, and the delivery of that lyric is what sticks to me and makes that lyric important. But you know, what do I know? I'm not the lyric. You
No,
know,
but I think
That
with Josh though,
song,
he's a great singer and he's so emotive. He's like one of the when he sings it, when he sings a ballad, you feel it. But then when he's having fun singing Type Hands, he's having fun and it's a fun song. Like he can carry, and that's a real interesting, hard thing to dance between the two without
yeah,
messing it up and dropping the dish because those are two different
yeah,
things. And he does it.
yeah, yeah.
And that's,
Well, it's to me, I'm biased, but he's one of the last great frontmen.
oh,
I
I
don't know
agree.
any I don't know anyone new that that covers what he can cover and does what he can do. So, but there again, I'm biased. I'm in the band. He's,
Well, I have a lot of respect for myself. So, I mean, I think, he's up there. He's one of the top, and that's what I'm saying. I appreciate those things too. But the formula of all you guys working together has really just continued to bring it out. Are you guys writing a
mhm,
certain amount of songs? Like, say, so the album you're working on now, is it like you guys take a break, write some songs,
mhm.
get 20
We're
songs, 30 songs, and then decide or what?
the process has gotten shorter and shorter for us because instead of like you know throwing darts at a dartboard blindly,
Yeah,
it's like let's try this. Like I I think we go in at the beginning of the process. Uh, Now we're focused on a singular idea, and we don't have to um, experiment
right,
with a bunch of different things. Um, and our songwriting process now is pretty quick. Uh, let's say on this last one, well, for let's say Hellbound, we demoed over 20 songs, maybe 30 songs in the course of a year while we were touring or home, and then brought them to Marty. And then we wrote a whole new batch of songs that were most of which made the album. And this album coming up, I think we're just we're demoing. I think Josh said he wanted to have a 10-song album, and we're demoing right around there. Like we're without if we go into a song and it's let's say not working, then we're just scrapping it and going for the ideas that are really solid within the first 5 minutes. Um, but yeah, there's not we're not wasting a lot of time
yeah.
on this.
Wasting no more time. Have you ever go with
Waste
that one?
no more time. Yeah.
The I like the fact you had to do short albums too. So it's 36 minutes. It back feels like back when we were listening to albums in the 70s and 60s and 80s.
Yeah.
It wasn't like
Yeah.
an epic. It's a fun album. You're like, oh, it's over already. Play it again.
Yeah.
It's kind of fun.
Now, for some reason, well, I don't know. I don't know. Back in the 70s, even 80s, you had long songs, and long songs were making the radio. Now it's to the point where it's don't bore us, get to the chorus. But as a guitar player, I still want something
Right,
interesting underneath. Um, but songs are, in country, and pop music, and even rock are are, are under 3 minutes.
right.
There's no long guitar solos anymore, but I'm still fighting for that one. But
I'm okay with it. I'm just saying I'm enjoying. Like if you do a fast album, it's got a lot of energy. It's kind of fun because it kind of goes against the grain. If you got something to
yeah,
say, of course do it, but don't. I think you guys do the songs justice without adding to them, making them like I'm not listening to them going, man, you really could have cut that out. You really could have maybe you need a second guitar
yeah,
solo. Like what I'm saying, it's not like you're still honoring the song is what it's important.
yeah. I mean, it was always about the song. It's
Right.
always about the song, and even if a guitar solo is, you know, let's say more than 8 bars, it's still got to serve the song or build tension or um, add something emotionally to the that
Yeah.
three.
I mean that's
So
what you guys are is Josh's voice and your guitars, you and Billy's guitars, that is the sound of Buckcherry to me. So that's
yeah,
it.
yeah, yeah.
That's the
It's
formula.
all about the
What do you
riff
yeah,
and that voice.
it
That's
is.
really even when we did the side project, the conflict.
Yep.
Um, it still sounded
It's
like
not
Buck
it does.
Josh's voice.
Well, that's the problem. When you get to that level of a singer, it's like David Lee Roth or like when Chris Cornell left Soundgarden. You kind
Yeah,
of are, and you're one of the main songwriter or the main lyricist. You know what I'm saying? That the
yeah,
entity
yeah,
is pretty much everything is
yeah.
kind of like almost that is you pretty much at that point.
Like
Once you move on,
when I Josh on somebody else's another band, like he'll guest on other albums, and I hear his voice on that. It sounds like just a different version of Buck Cherry to me.
there's a band
You
he just
know?
did one. I just heard it. I'm like, oh, it sounds like someone else is like playing along
Yeah,
Buck Cherry with him. I get that. It's
yeah.
still be an honor to have him on your album, though, if I was a musician. So I mean, he's fantastic.
But
His voice. I said it'd still be an honor to be affiliated with him on an album. I mean, to sound like
yeah,
Buck Cherry would be a good thing either way, though. Um,
yeah.
with all these songs you guys are writing, are you guys saving them for down the road at all?
Um,
Could they ever see light? I mean, I'm saying you guys write a lot of songs you don't use.
yeah, we revisit sometimes. He takes another swing at it. But then we ultimately at the what's happened is we'll take a riff and then just give it to Marty, and then he comes up with a kind of like, well, why don't you try this on top of
Okay.
it? Um, but a lot of the songs that don't make the album, we haven't really carried over to the next album, you
No,
know?
that's what I mean. Like just like a stockpile to go back someday and be like, oh, we got a lot of stuff here. It'd be kind of fun to pick through and revisit
Yeah.
for fun. You know what I
Oh,
mean?
I mean, when we do that, it's bonus tracks.
Right.
Um, those are the ones that did make the album that we thought were pretty good. Um, and we use as bonus tracks. Uh, Sometimes we'll take some of those songs. Like what we did was we had a song that was cool, but we just didn't need another
Right.
acoustic tempo song. So uh, we do it with another band. We had this song called I can't remember what our version was, but it's called Medicine, and we got together with our buddies from the Choir Boys and
Oh
Griff
yeah.
put their spin on it and their instrumentation, and they released it. So
It's another voice that's quite his own. for the
Yeah,
choir
yeah,
boys. Yeah, that's just
yeah,
him. Well, and
yeah,
Rod
yeah.
Stewart.
But yeah, that originally was a guy named Spike, and then Griff.
Yeah.
That had some internal problems, and Griff took over. But
Although I'm
yeah,
saying with Spike, when Spike sings, though, it sounds like the choir boys. That's the problem is he's so tied to it now because of his voice. You know,
yeah,
no matter how
yeah,
good the choir boys sound, they do sound good. It's just
yeah,
Spike's voice. Whatever he does, they're gonna go, "Is that the choir boys?" Because of the voice that I
yeah,
was talking about.
sure, sure. Yeah, I don't know what's going on with them,
No,
but yeah, I wish them all the best.
I actually
So
the choir boys I've heard with him singing on Griff, it sounds good too. So nothing
yeah,
nothing there. It's just the thing that the voice is once you're a singer in a band, it's good and
yeah,
bad, and that's just kind of it. Um,
yeah, yeah,
you've been doing your own stuff though. You've also been writing with Marty. What's going on?
yeah. I've been contributing to the Horsemen, the Four Horsemen. That's his kind of songwriter group, and it's Scott Stevens and a few other guys I can't remember. But I got together with Marty and a guy named Danny Myrick, and we co-wrote for this kid Noah Garner. He's a country guy, and I got to contribute several songs for that. Um, he's getting his record deal now, and that should be out later this year, maybe.
That's pretty fun, huh?
And
To do something different
huh?
like that. That's gotta be fun as an artist to really do something like that. It's gonna be really interesting for you to kind of do something different.
Yeah, I mean, it's not terribly different than what I do. It's just kind of what I do. I think I got called because, well, it's no secret that country now in Nashville now is a lot of rock and roll. And something like maybe 10 years or maybe 20 years ago, it was very anti rock and roll. I mean, it was very closed doors
Yeah.
for a guy like me. And now with, I don't know if Kid Rock kind of broke down those barriers, but like guys like Brantley Gilbert are
Hmm.
definitely straight up doing straight up rock music. And I think Noah wanted to kind of make that turn into and incorporate that sound into his music. He
Yeah.
had already had a song with a Buckcherry reference in there, something about crazy bitches. And anyway, so he was working with Marty, and Marty was like, "Yeah, send me a riff." And I sent him some country riffs. He's like, "No, send me that rock riff that you do." And
Okay.
I just kept doing it one after the other, after the other, after the other, and they all popped. So
Okay. So I was
yeah,
thinking you were writing country riffs for a country artist, so it would be different for you to be doing something a little bit different. But you're actually
yeah. I mean,
writing rock riffs, so it's kind of even.
I have kind of a country twang on it, but at the end of the day, all of them were rock riffs, you
Yeah.
know.
You
So
had a couple other projects you were doing though.
contributed to the Horsemen for a Dead Daisies tune, the latest song called "Light 'Em Up." So
Yeah.
that guitar there, I got to hang on one second.
Yeah.
Got to participate. Those guys are awesome.
They are. I'm surprised they don't have enough of their own people writing for that band as it is because there's so many
They did
musicians in that band.
Karabi and Doug Aldrich.
Yeah.
So yeah,
The two of them are monsters as songwriters.
oh, they obviously don't need anybody, but um, yeah, Marty was is producing. They have a couple of, I think it's like a double album coming out. I'm not sure how it's gonna work, but uh, yeah, one side is like the blues side, the other side is the rock and roll side. But yeah,
They're a good band. I've had them both on separately, and I'm glad John's back with them because he's got a great voice to not be
he's
doing rock.
amazing. Like in my opinion, they're like
Well, I agree.
some of the best in rock,
Yeah,
right now.
it's a good band. It's a good band. Like I said before, you had a couple of other stuff you're doing on the side. You had a couple like guitar stuff and jewelry and shirts and stuff you're doing? That stuff still going on? You still working on any of that? Those projects?
Yeah, like there was I was doing t-shirts for a minute I with the LAMF GTA LAMF, and
Yeah.
this that site's still up. Um, I just got so busy with with the music side of things, and then
Well,
being a dad, that
yeah.
stuff kind of falls through the cracks because that's my main focus. Um, but yeah, there's the guitars are from Diamond, and they have this Hailfire guitar that I really loved. So I brought a few of those out with us on tour,
Yeah.
and there was I play it, and fans could get their hands on one, you know. But yeah,
Very cool.
you can go to find Hailfire, Hail, Hailfire.
Okay.
Um, get your own,
And I'll put the
Tell them.
Buckcherry and Stevie D said, I'll put the links underneath the show like I do always for Buckcherry and for you. Where
Yeah,
if they want to get your clothes, what's the link? Where should they go for that?
Stevie D GTA.com.
Actually, it's probably on my last time. But last time you were on, we were talking about your shirts. So I
Oh
probably
yeah,
have it on that last show episode. I have to think
yeah.
back now.
You would think I would have a better handle on that, but because of the songwriting and playing live, and then more recently, my son got into baseball, so I am like 110 into this, you know. So he's a super athletic kid, and we were in soccer and basketball for a long time. And his friends at school were playing baseball, and they were like, "Yeah, you should play baseball with us." And so I got him ready for spring ball, right? And so I started sending him to a private coach, and turns out he's pretty good at this. So like he started really he ramped up and he put in a lot of hard work, and as his dad, and like if it was going to be music, if it's going to be anything in sports, I'm gonna back him
Right.
110%, right? So it just happened to be baseball, and he went from just going to private lessons, joining spring ball up here in Simi Valley, and his team. He got on a winning team, went to the playoffs, swept the playoffs, and ended up in the championship game, which was just last weekend. So I'm
Oh
totally
wow,
blown away.
that's amazing.
So, um,
That's
yeah,
crazy.
and now he got invited to go play travel ball. And literally the next day,
Whew.
we're in the championship game, and then we're starting travel ball with a new team. So,
So he's on tour now.
yeah, he will be. He will be starting next weekend. Holy cow. Yeah, when you
That's
put it
funny.
like that, going on tour too. So
Is he got any interest in music, or is it just like,
there's obviously tons of instruments around the house. I've made it available to him. He's got great pitch, you know.
yeah,
Uh, but I've never forced anything, you know. If I see an inclination, I'll facilitate, you
yeah?
know. But
It's more of a
and then
parent question than the band question. Like, I'm not saying it's because of music story. Just like being a musician. Like I've got example be like my kids play. You see behind me. Two of my kids play, but one of them can't play any music. But now his son, my grandson, was over and he used to bang on it. Now he's gonna be just turned 6. The other day he's like, to pop up, I want to play this guitar and he wants to play this one. So I started taking him down and he's playing them. He had his own ook. He played that. That's why he started small. So but he starts playing each of them. I start turning the distortion and the effects, and he's playing with each one. I hook up to the Vox and the orange amp and stuff. And then he goes over to the keyboard and starts playing the keyboard. And he reaches up, as you can see behind me, and he starts playing the guitar while he's playing the keyboard. And he's like, he's texturing. I'm like, whoa,
mhm.
that's not, you know what I'm saying? I'm like, that's kind of cool because that's not a normal thing a 6-year-old would take. He's getting a rhythm and sound effects, and he's strumming with a guitar with the other hand.
Yeah, yeah.
So it's just,
That's great. That is amazing. You never know. Like send them to lessons for both.
I
You know,
To
and
that
then
I have. I
then
said, he wants to do it, that's fine. If not,
hmm,
but it's the same thing. Because I'm saying if it's having it available to you and kids growing up around it, I'm always curious to
sure.
see like if your kid like just
Yeah,
naturally wants to play it for fun.
yeah. I mean, I know a lot of kids. Well, that have musician parents, and uh, I know this one kid. He's a prodigy. He was a prodigy at like I don't know early on, like at 5, he was showing signs of being a great player, and he plays bass, and now he plays all the instruments.
Yeah,
Um, and he's like 12 now, and he's just amazing. You see young kids uh, all over the world because of the internet now, and that vast source of information, endless information. These kids are virtuosos
oh
by
yeah.
10. Um, so you know, I don't want to force anything on my like so, and he just took to sports, baseball.
Nothing wrong with that. I just kind of curious, like, because
Oh,
it's interesting when you have music instruments in your house, like obviously you do, like I do. It's not about obviously you're a successful musician and I'm not. The point is just like kids growing up around music and what their
yeah,
parents do, and it's always just
yeah.
interesting to see how it
Sometimes,
falls.
yeah, yeah. Sometimes it falls close to the tree. Other times, like you find, like I'm really about, like let's find your path,
Yeah,
and if you make a decision, let's work hard, and 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 the rest is up to the universe. It's up to God. But if I think if you should put out that intention and you work hard, things will be
yeah.
okay.
You got a lot of talent
So,
in your family too, right? Because your brother plays, obviously he plays guitar, and doesn't his
yep,
son produce music too? I think so. There's a lot
yeah,
of musical talent running in your family too.
he's a hip hop kid.
Yeah,
So yeah, and his daughter is an amazing artist, paints, illustrates. So
that's
yeah,
pretty hand in
and I
hand, though, don't
think
you think? The art and the
yeah,
hand. I get that.
a fine art guy.
Yeah,
So and a piano player. So yeah, it's in the bloodline there, you
yeah.
know.
You guys,
So
thoroughbreds. All you guys are just a pure. There'll be no losers. I don't care what you do, just do it good. Yeah, it's
yeah,
gonna
I
be
mean,
music, arts, sports.
well, I mean that's kind of the way it is. It's like I mean, I don't deliver it like that, but
No, no, but you do your
whatever,
best. That's all.
if you're like passionate about it, then let's go. Let's do it. If we're gonna do it, let's do it great. You know.
But look at you. Probably just good wrap up on this. And as an example of you're living it. Yeah, you want to be a rock and roll guy, rock celebrity, musician, star, whatever. All right, what do? You're in your 50s.
Yeah.
You exercise, you work out, you work harder than most people that work a 9 to 5 job. Yeah, you want to look at you have this job. You got to work hard to be where you're at.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's the example.
Kind of like I'm kind of glad that he didn't pick music. I mean, it's really hard on you, like because hard work and a dedication doesn't always lead to
No,
success, doesn't always equal success. In most things in life outside of music are that way. But so I think it's kind of a relief that he's not going to go down this path.
you got to
Like
keep moving in music, though.
I always
You know,
joke, like interviewers will ask, what advice do you have for young songwriters and musicians? And I'm like, run.
but
You know,
I don't think
it's
I've ever
like
asked that question.
it's a tough road. It's a tough road, and it's not for everybody. You
I
know.
went to school for recording in the 90s. I got a degree in it, and I came out around the same time that grunge hit rock and roll. Apple came
Yeah.
out with the computer that could record everything. So, like, literally,
Hmm.
it hit me on the other side of that recording. So, for me, my end of music and recording went out the window with computers, just like grunge to rock and roll guys. A lot of my stories parallel.
Like people are going to succeed if they're meant to succeed. They're going to succeed. Like if you're going to work, I know tons of guys that have gone into the recording industry, and Like they started out on the computer, and
Yeah,
they're just, I mean, look at Billie Eilish's brother.
yeah.
What's his?
Oh, oh,
I don't
I
know.
know what you're
Anyway,
saying. Yeah, I know what you're
yeah,
saying.
like if you're a musical and you have a passion for it, and no matter what your medium is, you're you know, and you're good, let's say, destined to do it.
Much.
You know,
Um,
there you go.
Buckcherry, thank
Yeah.
you. I'm gonna pause this. Hold on a second. I'm gonna
All right,
end it and
brother.
then I'll pause it. All right. Thank you, man, for being on the show. I appreciate it.
All
Coming back.
right. Lots of love. Thanks.